In this lecture, we are going to look at the unit vector. All right? We are going to look at unit vectors. Now, my dear student, what are the unit vectors? Now, basically, you said, or we learned, that physical quantities are classified into two. We have the scalar quantity, and then we have vector quantity. Physical quantities are classified into two. We have the scalar quantity and then we have the vector quantity. We learned that the scalar quantity are quantities that have magnitude but no direction. While the vector quantities are those quantities that have both magnitude plus direction. Those are the vector quantity. Both magnitude plus direction, vector. Magnitude without direction, scalar quantity. Now, we are going to look at unit vector. Now, it means that every unit vector, so long as a vector, it has a magnitude and what? A direction. Now, but the question now is, for unit vector, what is their magnitude and what is their direction? Now, for unit vector, their magnitude is always 1. Is that okay? Now, their magnitude is always 1. Now, anything multiplied by 1 is still that same thing. So, a unit vector is a vector whose magnitude is 1. And because magnitude is 1, basically, it has like less effect. Because anything multiplied by 1 is still that 1. So, most cases, unit vectors are often used to indicate direction. To indicate what? Direction without recourse or without regard to their magnitude. Basically for what? Direction without regard to magnitude. Direction without regard to what? Magnitude, my dear students. So that is what unit vector. They are typically denoted with a heart. Typically denoted with what? A heart. Something like this. Okay, the unit vectors are typically denoted with a heart, which of course you've seen here. For example, I denoted with a heart, J denoted with a heart, K denoted with a heart. These are unit vectors. Now, these vectors, they are vectors in the direction of x, where I is for x direction, J is for y direction, and and K is for the Z axis. Is that okay? These are the standard unit vector. I, J, K are the standard unit vector. So any vector that has a magnitude of 1 is a unit vector. Are you getting it now? So we say unit vector is a vector that has a magnitude of exactly 1 unit. It is used to indicate direction only. All right? Because I said that vector quantity, they has both magnitude and direction. So if something has a magnitude of only 1, 1, anything multiplied by 1 is still that same thing. So most times the unit vectors, they are used to only indicate direction. Is that understood? Now, we said it is used to indicate direction only without affecting the magnitude of another vector. It might be multiplied with. Why? Because anything multiplied by 1 is still that same thing. Now, if you have a vector v, this is v, this vector v, the unit vector for this vector v will be indicated with this. Is that okay? This is a vector. Normally, this vector v has magnitude and direction. The unit vector for v also has magnitude and also what? Direction. Is that understood? But this one is mainly used to indicate the direction of this v here. Now, let me make it easy for you to understand. You have a vector v. This is a vector v. Now, this vector has magnitude plus direction. You have another vector v here. This one also has magnitude and direction, but this is a unit vector. So the magnitude of this one is 1. So the only thing that this particular vector will specify is what? The direction. Now, one thing that you should know is that this unit vector and this vector v, they are in the same direction. They move in the same direction. So once you know the direction of this unit vector, it automatically means that you've known the direction of this vector v. Now, in most cases, when you don't really need the magnitude of vector v, you only need the direction of vector v. What do? Knowing that the unit vector will give you the knowledge or the information you need about vector v, there was no need of you like solving for the magnitude of vector v and any direction. All you just need to do is to go straight and get the unit vector, because you know that the unit vector for v will only give you information about vector v. Is that okay? Is that understood? So unit vectors, they are vectors that has magnitude of 1. Specifically, they are used to indicate direction. So for instance, if I give you a vector, let's say A, and I want to know the direction of this vector. Now, this vector has both magnitude and direction. So if I want to know the direction of this vector, most calculations will involve me getting the magnitude first, then the direction. However, if you want to actually get the direction quickly for this particular vector without going too much in detail, all you need to do is to just find the unit vector of what? Vector A. Is to find what, my dear student? The unit vector of vector A. Now, we say the standard unit vectors are I, J, K. It means I has a magnitude of 1, J has a magnitude of 1, and K also has a magnitude of 1. Are you getting it? So if I multiply anything by I, J, and K, it does not necessarily affect that thing, but it only tells us the direction. Here I say that I is in the x-axis, J is in the what? Y-axis, and K is in the z-axis. So if I have a vector, let us say I give you a vector, and I said vector V. Let me give you one here, and then let's explain it here. Now let us say I give you a vector V. Remember, using this to indicate that this is a vector, it has both magnitude and what? Direction. Is that okay? Exactly. Now, if that is vector V, and vector V is represented by AI, not artificial intelligence, plus BJ, not blowjob, plus CK, not HK. Are you getting it? Now, if you have these vectors, AI, BJ, plus CK, now each of these have a hat on top of them. I, J, and K are unit vector. Their magnitude is 1. So even if you multiply that one by this A still remains A. Multiply 1 by B still remains B. Multiply this by C still remains C. But what is their function in this thing here? They indicate direction. It means this vector V, to the x-axis, it has a magnitude of A. To which of the axis? X-axis, because I indicate x-axis. It has a magnitude of B to the what? Y-axis, and a magnitude C to the what? To the Z-axis, which is indicated with K. That is just the meaning. So IJ and K will only tell you the direction. IJ and K will only tell you what, my dear student? The direction. Is that understood? Their magnitude is 1. Now, how do you calculate unit vector? If I give you vector V, let's say vector V, and I say, what is the unit vector for vector V? Of course, I told you that the unit vector is represented with something like this, the V caret. The unit vector for vector V is the component of vector V divided by the magnitude of vector V. Are you getting it? Component of V divided by what, my dear student? The magnitude of V. Is that okay? Component of V divided by magnitude of V. I'm going to teach you how to calculate the magnitude. Now, what is the component of V we are talking about? We are talking about this AI, BJ, K. So you are going to divide each of these by what? Their magnitude. Remember that we said this v here like this is the v component. Are you getting it? The vector v is given by ai, bj, and ck. So to get the unit vector is this vector v divided by the magnitude of v. My dear student, what will it now be? This will be something like ai plus bj vector, of course, plus what? ck vector, all divided by what? The magnitude of v. So our unit vector for v will be equals to, here will be what? ai vector v, or you can say vector a over this thing I, which is a over v, magnitude of v, I, plus what? Still the same thing as what? B over magnitude of v, j, because in mathematics, if something is under here, it means it was under a, under b, and under what? C, plus what? C, and then you have all over magnitude of v, and then you have what? K. Now, so that is that. Now, how do you get the magnitude of v? What is the formula for calculating magnitude? To get the magnitude of v, my dear student, is equals to the square root of what you have here. Square root of, you know, v, vector v, this vector v. To get the magnitude of vector v is going to be this magnitude of vector v, so you indicate with vector. It's going to be this value you have here before I squared. So here will be a squared plus that of j, which is b squared, plus what? That of k, which is c squared. So this is how to get the magnitude of any vector. Is that understood? So basically, I've told you that the unit vectors I, j, and k, they have magnitude of 1 and they are used to indicate direction. That is the first thing we've known. Then another thing again, we said to get the unit vector for any vector given to you. Let us say they give you this vector. To get the unit vector, you just put that vector and then you put a hat on top, which is equals to, it will be the vector itself divided by the magnitude of the vector. And in this case, our unit vector for v will be what? ai plus bj plus ck divided by magnitude of v, of which we separated to give us this. I will say to get the magnitude, this is the square root of the component of the vector, which is a squared plus b squared plus c squared. Is that okay? Now, it means this, what you have here, is the unit vector for this vector v. It means if you want to get the direction of vector v, all you need to do is use this to indicate the direction of v. Is that okay? Use this to what? Indicate the what, my dear student? Direction of v. Do you get the idea now? If you find the magnitude of whatever you get from here, it's going to give us 1. Let us solve an example and see what it gives to us. Now, if we have v, they gave us something like this. V is equals to, my dear student, 3i plus 4j. And the question says, find the unit vector. The first step is to find the magnitude. First, the formula for unit vector. My dear student, what is the formula for unit vector? We said the formula is equals to your v divided by what? The magnitude of v. All right? So, my dear student, let us now solve. To get our magnitude of v, because you already know what this vector v is, to get the magnitude of v, my dear student, will be the square root of what you have here. The first value is 3, square root of 3 square plus that of 4 square. All right? So at the end of the day, this will give us square root. 3 square is how many? 9. 4 square is how many? 16. So this will give us root of 9 plus 16 will give us how many? 25. and this will give us what? 5. So it means, in this case, the magnitude of our V is how many, my dear student? Is 5. That's the magnitude. So what do you think will be the unit vector? The unit vector now, which is V with heart, we say the formula is this one divided by the magnitude of V. All right? Now, this is 3I, which was given, plus what? 4J, divided by magnitude of V is how many? 5. Of which this, you can write it as what? Like I said, 3 over 5I plus what? 4 over 5J. Is that okay? So at the end of the day, what are you going to have? This will give us what? When 3 is divided by 5, it will give us what? 0.6I plus what? 0.8, I think, J. So this is our unit vector for vector V. Now, why do we say unit vector has a magnitude of 1? If you find the magnitude of this stuff you have here, you will discover that it's going to give us 1. How do we get magnitude? The same process we did here. The same way we got the magnitude of this one, the same way we can get the magnitude of this one. Now let's press our calculator and see if that will give us. To get the magnitude there, of course, you say this is 0.6 plus squared. Are you getting it? 0.8 squared. That's how we say we could get the magnitude now. What you have I, square it. What you have J, square it, and then find the square root. All right? So, my dear students, let's press our calculator and see what that is going to give to us. So, we have square root 0.6 square plus 0.8 square. That gave us what, my dear student? Gave us 1. Are you getting it now? That's why we said that a unit vector has a magnitude of how many, my dear student? 1. So this is not the unit vector. This is the vector V. The unit vector is V with the heart on top, which is this one here. This is the unit vector. This is the one that has a magnitude of how many? 1. This does not have a magnitude of 1. This only tells us about the direction. Is that okay? It tells us that to the I-axis about 0.6, then to the J-axis, which is Y-axis, about 0.8. It only gives us information about the what? About the direction and not necessarily the magnitude. All right? And not necessarily the magnitude. Hey, wait, my WhatsApp don't wipe. Are you serious right now? All right, so that is that for unit vector. So if I should give you anyone to attempt now, you should be able to attempt it. Is that okay? It's a very simple something. If I give you anyone to attempt on that, you should be able to attempt it. All right, let's see if we can take one more example. All right, so that is that. Let's go to the cos improper now. Say, if a vector A is multiplied with a scalar, the result is another vector B written as this. If A is a vector quantity, you should take note, and is multiplied with a scalar quantity. You know vector quantity has magnitude. Scalar does not have magnitude. The result will be another vector. A is a vector. X is a scalar. If you multiply A and X, the answer will be another vector quantity. Is that okay? Take note of this key point. They are very, very important. Now, we want to look at how vectors can be multiplied. Vectors can be multiplied in 2 ways. Vectors can be multiplied in how many ways, my dear student? 2 ways. We have what we call the dot product, and we have what we call cross product of vector multiplication. Now, the result of dot product is a scalar quantity, and that of the cross product is a vector quantity. This is a key point in your exam. You should take note of it. The result of a scalar of a dot product is a scalar quantity, and that of the cross product is a vector quantity. Is that okay? So this one, dot product, is also called scalar product, while cross product is also called, what, my dear student? Vector product. Because the result that you get from dot product will give you a scalar quantity. The result you get from cross product will give you a vector quantity. All right. Now, dot product. Example is work done. This is a dot product. Now, dot product says that A dot B is the magnitude of A multiplied by the magnitude of B cos theta. What does this mean? It means if you have vector A and you have vector B, and they ask you to find A dot B, are you getting it? The answer is always equals to the magnitude of A multiplied by the magnitude of B cos theta. An example is your work done. What is the formula for work done, my dear student? Work done, if you can still remember, is force times distance cos theta. Force is a vector, vector F. Distance is another vector, D. Are you getting it now? So it's more like the magnitude of F multiplied by the magnitude of D cos theta, and that is still the same thing with this formula. So a thorough example of vector product is what? Work done. Is that okay? That's a thorough example of the, not vector product, of dot product rather. Scalar product, dot product, please. Not vector product, dot product. Is that okay? An example is that. Is that okay? So that is that. Work done is an example of dot product because our force multiplying by the displacement then cos theta. So whenever they give you two this thing, let's say P, and then they give you Q, and they say find P dot Q, the answer is usually magnitude of P multiplied by magnitude of Q cos what? Theta. But there's a way of us doing it too. There's a way of doing this. I'm going to teach you how to do that as time goes on. All right? Exactly. Now, cross product. Example is moment, the moment of inertia. The vector cross product is defined generally as A cross B is equals to C, where A cross B is a vector perpendicular to the plane of A and B. Perpendicular means at angle 90 degrees to the plane of what? A and B. So if A and B are going in this direction, our A cross B will be something like this, 90 degrees. Now the magnitude of C is, it means our C is A, B sine theta. So for dot product, if you have A dot B, my dear student, that will give us what? Magnitude of A, magnitude of B cos theta. Why for cross products, there are two ways of multiplying. That will give us magnitude of A, magnitude of B sine theta. Are you getting it? Because they say A cross B is equals to C. Yes, C is this. So what that means is that A cross B is equals to C. Yes, C is this. So in place of C, I can put magnitude of A, magnitude of B sine what, my dear student? Theta. Is that okay? Exactly. So now that we have known this, so when they say vector dot product is magnitude of A, magnitude of B cos theta, you know how we got our magnitude for each of the vector, then cos theta. Is that okay? So that is that. So if they now ask you to find theta, let's say for A dot B, what are you going to do? It's going to be A dot B is equals to what? Magnitude of A, magnitude of B cos theta, you make theta subject of the formula, so you divide both sides by magnitude of A, magnitude of B, which we cancel this, and then here will be magnitude of A multiplied by magnitude of B. So cos theta, my dear student, will be A dot B divided by what? Magnitude of A multiplied by magnitude of B. So theta will be the cos inverse of A dot B divided by what? Magnitude of A, magnitude of B. Reason is that in secondary school, most of you don't know this, but you know how we got cos theta is A dot B is equals to how we got this one here. We just divided both sides by magnitude of A, magnitude of B, right? Now, theta is equals to, once you get to something like, let's say cos theta is equals to x. To get your theta, theta will be equals to the cos inverse of x. So cos theta is A dot B all over AB. Theta now will be the cos inverse of everything you have here. Is that understood? So that is the general idea of vector, dot product, and cross product. Now we have unit vector in 2 dimensions. This is I and J only. I have told you that I means x-axis. J means what? Y-axis. This A here is our magnitude. A is our what? Magnitude. We said AY is A, magnitude of A sine theta, right? Because you know in Pythagoras theorem, you were taught that here is what? Hypotenuse. Is that okay? Here is what? Hypotenuse. This is the angle it made with the x-axis. So here is theta. So if you are looking for AY, AY now will be equals to what? From SOHCAHTOA, can you still remember? What is the relationship between AY and A? Is hypotenuse and what? Opposite. Are you getting it? This one, opposite the angle is the opposite. This one is the hypotenuse. You are looking for these two. The relationship is hypotenuse and opposite. Hypotenuse and opposite is sine theta. So that is why we have sine theta will be equals to, what is your opposite? AY divided by, and here is what? A. So our AY will be equals to what? A sine theta, which is magnitude of A sine theta. That was how they got this formula here. Is that okay? It's a very simple something. This diagram here just tells you that this is a vector A. The vector has y-axis represented by what? J. The vector has x-axis represented by what? I. Then this is the magnitude of the vector. Now they are asking you to find the component of that vector in the x-axis and in the y-axis. You use Pythagoras theorem to get that. AY is equals to A sine theta, I have shown to you. Now, the other one is AS. What's the relationship between AX and A? Of course, the relationship is adjacent and hypotenuse, which is adjacent hypotenuse, K. So SOHCAHTOA, K. So that will give us what? Cos theta. Adjacent is how many? AX. Hypotenuse is how many? A. So that will give us AS is equals to what? A cos theta. Is that okay? So this is AS, this is what? AY. This is what we have here. So if they now ask you, find the angle, this angle here, it's made with the x-axis. You use the formula. Theta is equals to the tan inverse of what? AY all over what? AS. And of course, the magnitude of A is this. That's just basically what you have here. Is that okay? It's more like they give you a vector. A is equals to AI plus AJ. You know this AI is still the same thing as A in the x-axis. AJ also means the same thing as what? A in the what? Y-axis. But this is basically little formula that you just put at the back of your head. We are going to see where we'll have to apply each of these ones. Is that okay? Now, for vector dot product, I told you If they give you a unit vector, A is equals to AXI plus AYJ plus AZK, the magnitude of A is the square root of what you have before the K, before the IJK. So in this case, magnitude will be equal to what? AS squared plus AY squared plus AZ squared. That's our magnitude. Now, the general idea you should know is that in vector multiplication for dot product, I dot I is always equals to J dot J, which is always equals to K dot K, which is 1. So it means I dot I is 1, J dot J is 1, K dot K is 1. Please put that at the back of your mind. I dot I is what, my dear student? 1. J dot J is what? 1. K dot K is 1. Is that okay? We are going to see the application of this. So if I give you a vector, let's say 5i and 2i, I want to multiply these two things. First, 5 times 2 will give us how many? 10. Let us say a dot product. You already know that 5 times 2 is 10. I dot I, because it's dot product, I dot I will give us how many, my dear student? 1. So it means that this will be 10 times 1. And 10 times 1 will give us how many, my dear students? 10. So when you see something like that, they say find the dot product. You don't need to just be multiplying the I times I to give us I squared. Just 5 times 2 will give us 10, because you already know that I to I dot I will give us 1. I squared is 1 in vector dot product, which is I dot I. Now, the next thing is that I dot J, J dot K, K dot I is 0. So when you see somebody multiply 5i multiplied by 2j, just know that this will give us what, my dear student? 0. Are you getting it? Why? Because 5 times 2 will give us what? 10. I dot j will give us what, my dear student? 0, which is 10 times 0 will give us what? 0. Is that understood? Exactly. So that is that for this particular one. Let's see the next. These vectors in 3 dimensions. For 3 dimensions, that's where you now have I, J, and K. Is that okay? Which we have something like this: I, J, and K. Now, you have something like this given to you. The question now is, come. A dot B is equals to what, my dear student? It's a very simple something. Now, how? A dot B in this case, if they ask you to find, my WhatsApp messages all just wiped. Don't know. All right. Now, you have given vector A is equals to this and vector B is equals to this. Find A dot B. Now, if you are to look for A dot B, how do you do that? This is just a way to make you understand everything we'll be doing since. Now, A dot B means you should use everything here to multiply what you have in B. Use everything in A to multiply what you have by B. For I, that of J with this one, and then this with this. That is just the meaning. So let us start with this first one. AX times BX, my dear student, will give us what? AX, BX. You know that I dot, we are looking at dot product. I dot I will give us 1. So everything will still remain AS, BS. Plus The next one is a, j and j will give us 1. So these two multiply will give us what? Ay, by, plus this one will give us what? Az, bz. Is that okay? Exactly. So that is that for this particular one. It's a very simple something for A dot B. Then if they say A cross B, now this one is the one that is a little bit enigmatic, a little bit tedious to do, but we are still going to do it anyway. Were you taught determinant in your secondary school? If they say find A cross B, now the first thing you have to do is to rule two lines like this. Now on top of the lines, write I, J, and K, which represent I, J, K. Now under, write each of these under. For A, what do you have? Under your I, you have what? AX. Under this one, you have what? AY. Under this one, you have what? AZ. For B, under I, you have what? BX. Under J, you have BY. And under Z, you have BZ. If you now say find A cross B, my dear student, this is what you are going to do. Take I, write I out. Rule another two lines. I is always positive. So you take I out. Rule another two lines. Now from the two lines, what you are going to do is, look at what I will do. You are doing for I, right? Cancel everything you have here. Cancel everything you have here. Write what is remaining. For I, the first thing I said is to write, if they say find A cross B, write I, J, K. Then under I, put what you have here, AS and BS, which is what you have here. Under J, put what? AY and BY, which is what you have here. Under K, put what? AZ and BZ, which is what you have here. Then first, take I out. Rule two lines like this. Then for I, what you write in the two lines, cancel what you have on the column for I and cancel what you have on top. Is that okay? If you cancel that, my dear student, what are you now going to be left with? You are going to be left with what? You are going to be left with, if you cancel this and this, you are going to be left with what? AY, BY, AZ, BZ. I mean, cancel this one. You are left with AY, BY, AZ, BZ. Then you go to the next one. Now, for J, you always use minus. So you put minus J. Please take note. For J, you always what? Do what my dear student, use negative sign. So put minus J. And then rule another two lines again, like this. Now, for J, the same thing you did for I, where you cancel I, cancel J, cancel the on top. Write the other two things you have. So if I cancel these two and this one, what are we left with? AS, BS, AZ, BZ. So we'll have AX, BX, AZ, BZ, plus K. For that of K is positive sign, so we put plus K. Rule another two line. Are you getting what I'm doing? The same thing you did for J, you do it for this one. Cancel for K down, write anything that is remaining. Remember that J is negative, I is positive, K is positive. Determinant law in your secondary school. So this will give us what, my dear student? AX, BX, AZ, BZ. Is that okay? Now, having gotten that, the next thing you are now going to do is come back here and write I. You are now going to use multiply like this horizontally. Use this one to multiply this, subtract it from this one. Use this one to multiply this, subtract it from this one. Use this one to multiply this, subtract it from this one. Is that okay? Use this to multiply this. So if we use that to multiply that for the first one, it's going to give us what? AY, BZ. Then you subtract it from, told you, use this to multiply this, subtract it from when you use this to multiply this. So that's minus what, my dear student? Minus B Okay, let A come first. AZ minus AZ BY. That means BY multiplied by AZ will give us AZ BY. Then minus that of J, the same thing. Use this to multiply this, subtract it from this and minus this. So AX and BZ, when you multiply, this will give us ASBZ minus what? This one, use it to multiply this. Are you getting it? Which of course will give us what, my dear student? AZBX plus K. That of K is still the same thing. Use this to multiply this first. So this gives us K bracket what? AXBZ minus what? AZBS. There are chances of me making one or two mistakes, but so long you understand the procedure, are you getting it? Cannot be 100% efficient the way it is. All right. Is that understood? So that is basically for that first case we have there. All right, let's see the next one. The next one says if P, let's see a question on that. So if they give you anything like this and they say find A cross B, it's a little bit more tedious. First, we've done all this. First, write I, then rule two lines. Then for I, this is what I was avoiding. For I, cancel this one, cancel the up. So you are left with AY, BY, AZ, BZ. Then write minus. Remember to always indicate minus for this one. For J, cancel J and cancel what you have on top. So you have AS, BS, AZ, BZ. For K is positive. So this one will give us AX, BX, AZ, BZ. Is that understood? Exactly. Now, if P is equals to 7I minus 3J plus 2K, and Q is equals to 4I plus 5J minus 3K, the magnitude of P and Q, the scalar product of P dot Q, and the cosine of the angle between P and Q. These are the questions you were asked. So first of all, let us find the magnitude of P. Now you are given P as what? 7I minus 3J plus what? 2K. What do you think is the magnitude of vector P? I told you that the magnitude, my dear student, is everything you have here square. So here we give us 7 square plus, what do you have here? J is minus 3. So you put minus 3 square plus, what do you have before K is 2. So here is 2 square. Is that okay? So our P, my dear students, will be equals to 7 square will give us what, my dear student? 49. Plus 3 square will give us what? Will give us 9. Plus 2 square will give us how many? 4. So our magnitude of P will give us root of 49 plus 9 plus 4. What would that give to us? We have 49 plus 9 plus 4, which give us 62. So what is the square root of 62? That will give us 7.87. Is that understood? 7.87. That is the magnitude of P. Now let us look for the magnitude of Q. What was Q given in the question in the first place? Q is 4I plus 5J minus 3K. 4I plus 5J minus 3K. Let's confirm. 4I plus 5J minus 3K. Now, my dear student, what do you think will be the magnitude of Q? According to what I taught you, the magnitude is usually what you have here, which is 4 square plus what? Here is what? 5 square minus, okay, plus, it will still remain plus, but you now put minus 3 in bracket square, which is magnitude of Q. This thing came out one of the exams. All right, so please take note. 4 square is how many? 16. 5 squared is 25. 3 squared is how many? 9. All right. So that will give us 16 plus 25 plus 9, which is 50. So magnitude of P is equals to what, my dear student? Root 50. All right. And root 50 will give us what? 7.07. I still remember this thing exactly the way it is. Let's just check root 50. Root 50 will give us 7.07. I know. So that's what he gave to us. The next thing is the cosine of the angle between P and Q. So they are asking you to find cos theta. All right. Now, before you can find cos theta, you must find, no, even before that, the scalar product of PQ. PQ or P dot Q will be equals to, first, what is P? Was P given? P is 7i minus 3j plus 2k. 7i minus 3j plus what? 2000. 2k. Not 2k. Not 2k. All right. And Q is what? 4i plus 5j minus 3k. Now, P dot Q for this one we did earlier, told you that P dot Q, for P dot Q, just use what you have here to multiply this, knowing that I dot I will give us how many, my dear students? 1. So 7 times 4, it give us what? 28. Plus times minus will give us what? Minus. 3 times 5 will give us what? 15. Plus times minus will give us minus 6. So P dot Q will be equals to 28 minus 15 minus 6, of course, which gave us 7. So that's our P dot Q. Remember, I taught you that if they ask you A dot B is always what? Magnitude of A, magnitude of B cos theta. So our P dot Q is what? Magnitude of P, magnitude of Q cos what, my dear student? Theta. Is that okay? So in this case, we are looking for cos theta, cosine of the angle between that. Are you getting it? Which is theta? We are looking for theta and the angle. So to get theta, divide both sides by what? PQ. And here is what? PQ. When this cancel this, our cos theta will be P dot Q divided by what? Magnitude of P multiplied by magnitude of Q. P dot Q, what do we calculate as P dot Q? 7. That is what we have here. That's our P dot Q. What is our magnitude of P? Magnitude of P is 7.87. This calculation here. So we have 7.87 times magnitude of Q is 7.07. So cos theta would be equals to 7 divided by 7.87 times 7.07, which gave us 0.125. Is that okay? That is everything here. Multiply this and this, then divide by 7. This is simple something you can do now. So theta will be the cos inverse of 0.125. This is where many students will have issues. How to get the cos theta, because I know my screen, myself will be there. So let me put it here. Cos theta will be 0.125. So what do you think our theta will be? Cos inverse of 0.125. Told you that whenever you get something like this and they ask you to look for theta, just press cos inverse. Now, how do you press cos inverse in your calculator? Press shift cos. You already have your cos in your calculator. Just press shift cos. You are using a normal scientific calculator like this. I don't know if it will be clear enough. Just press shift cos. Are you getting it? Shift cost. Shift cost rather. Is it shift cost? Not shift cost. 0.125. Now, my dear student, our cos inverse of, are you sure? Okay, this my calculator is in rad. Please endeavor you change your calculator to the right something. Is in rad, so it gave me a very stupid answer. Shift cos, ensure that it's in degree. 0.125, because I know the answer is 83. It came out in one exam. 82.8 degree, which is theta will be equals to 83 degree. So this is basically what you are expected to do. If they ask you find P dot Q, anytime you see dot product, you follow this approach, everything I have done here. Is that okay? So that is that for that one. Let's see the next one. Now, we are given a vector. So given two vectors, A is equals to I plus 2j minus 3k, and B is equals to 2I minus 3j plus k. Now the question says find A plus B. A is what to start with. Let me see if, okay, I gave enough space. A is what in the first place? I plus 2j minus 3k. So you have I plus 2j minus 3k. B is what, my dear student? B is 2I minus 3j plus 2I minus 3j plus 4k. Is that okay? Now they say A plus B. Now my dear student, when they say A plus B, they just mean you should add this and this together. So what are we having? I plus 2I will give us what? Normal addition. This will give us what? 3I. Is that okay? Then the next one is 2j plus minus 3j. Remember there's a negative here. So it's going to be 2j plus minus 3j. That will give us 2 minus 3j, which will give us what? Minus j. 2j plus minus will give us minus 3j. 2 minus 3j will give us what? Minus j. Then minus 3k plus 4k. That will give us plus k. So our A plus B is this answer. Now the next one is A minus B, meaning subtract. So A minus B, I minus 2I. That will give us what? Minus I. Now 2j minus 3j. 2j minus bracket minus 3j. That is the meaning of what we have here now. Minus times minus will give us plus. So this will give us 2j plus 3j. That will give us what, my dear student? Plus 5j. Then you have minus 3k plus 4k. That will be minus 3k plus minus 3k minus 3k minus 4k. That's just the meaning. Minus 3k minus 4k will give us what, my dear student? Minus 7k. So that's the answer to that one. The next one is 3a plus 2b. Now, 3a plus 2b will be equals to what, my dear student? That one is very easy. 3a plus 2b. So we need to look for 3a first. Now, what does 3a mean? It means you should multiply everything you have here by 3, which is I plus what? 2j minus 3k. So 3a, my dear student, will be equals to 3 times I will give us what? 3i. 3 times j will give us what? 6j. 3 times minus this will give us what? Minus 9k. So 3i plus 2j minus 3k will give us 3i plus 6j minus 9k. Is that okay? Then for the next one is 3a plus 2b. So how do we get 2b? You use 2 to multiply everything you have in b, which is 2i minus 3j plus 4k. Is that okay? So for 2b, 2 times 2i will give us what? 4i. 2 times minus 3j will give us what? Minus 6j. Plus 2 times 8k, 2 times 4k will give us what? 8k. Is that okay? So this is what we have. 2 times this, 4i, 2 times this, 6j, 2 times this, 8k. Now, my dear student, the next thing is now to 3a plus 2b. Let's add them. Our 3a is what, my dear student? 3a is 3i plus 6j minus 9k. 2b is what? 4i minus 6j plus 8k. Then add them together. 3i, so we now have 3a plus 2b will be equals to 3i plus 4i will give us 7i. 6j plus minus 6j, the 6j minus 6j, this will cancel to give us what? 0. Then 0j, which is 0, right? Minus 9k plus 8k, that give us minus k. So the correct answer for 3a plus 2b will be 7i minus k. Is that okay? Case, what is our a? Let's write it again. A is I plus 2j minus 3k. Now, what is our b? B is 2i minus 3j plus 4k. 2i minus 3j plus 4k. Is that okay? Now, the question says you should find 2a minus 3b plus c is equals to 0. You say find c such that 2a minus 3b plus c is equals to 0. So first of all, we need to look for 2a and 3b. So how do we look for 2a? I've told you before that to find 2a, you use 2 to multiply everything you have here. So 2 multiplied by I plus 2j minus 3k. So 2a will be equals to 2 times I will give us 2i plus 2 times j will give us 4j minus 2 times k will give us what? 6k here. Minus 6k. All right. So our 2a will be equals to 2i. We already have that 2i plus 4j minus 6k. Then the next one is 3b. How do we get 3b? 3b means you should use 3 to multiply everything you have there. 2i minus 3j plus what? 4k, my dear student. So 3b will be equals to 3 times this will give us what? 6i minus 3 times this will give us what? 9j. 3 times this will give us what? Plus 12k. Is that understood? 3 times this will give us 6i. 3 times it will give us 9 plus what? 12k. So this is our 3b. Now the question says 2a minus 3b plus c is equals to 0. You say find c. Now take note. 2a minus 3b plus c is equals to 0. Find c. Now, how do you get c? C will be equals to, make c straight to the formula. Take 3b to this side. Because 3b is negative, I want it to be positive. So when we take it to this side, it becomes what? 3b minus, because if you take 2a to this side, we're going to give us what? Minus 2a. What I just did here was take this one to this side, so it becomes 3a. Then take this one to this side, so it becomes minus 2a. Is that okay? So that is what we have. C is equals to 3b minus 2a. Now, so what our C will be 3b minus 2a. What is our 3b? 3b is 6i minus 9j plus 12k. Is that okay? Now, what is our 2a? 2a is 2i plus 4j minus 6k. Remember that we said our Remember that we said our C is what? 3b minus 2a, which should be equals to. So it means we should subtract this. What do you think that will give to us? 6i minus 2i will give us what? 4i, my dear student. That will give us what? 4i. Is that okay? Now, 9 minus 9j minus 4j. That's like minus 9j minus 4j, which will give us what? Minus 13j. 12 minus 6, which is 12 plus 6. That will give us plus 18k. All right, because 12 plus 6 will give us 18. So our C, which is 4i minus 13j plus 18k, that is our C. Is that okay? It's a very simple question. Let me see if if the answer we got is actually correct, because I have to validate our answers. Have another class now, which I'm supposed to attend to. B. Now, what is our A? We said A is I plus 2j minus 3k. I plus 2j minus 3k. What is our B? B is 2i minus 3j plus 4k. 2i minus 3j plus 4k. Is that okay? So our A dot B will be equals to, you use this to multiply this. Whatever it gives to you is the answer. Of course, you know I dot I is 1. So this is 1 here. 1 times 2 will give us 2. Then plus times minus will give us minus. 2 times 3 will give us 6. All right? And then, of course, 3 plus, this plus times minus or minus times plus will give us minus. 3 times 4 will give us what? 12. K dot K will give us 1. This one will give us 2 minus 6 plus minus 12. So our A dot B, my dear student, will be 2 minus 6 will give us minus 4. Minus 4 minus 12 will give us minus 16. All right? Minus 4 minus 12 will give us minus 16. Is that understood? All right, so that is that. Now let's see the next question. The next question says A cross B. Now, what did I tell you you are to do when it comes to cross? First, I say you are going to rule 2 lines like this. On top of the lines, what are you going to put there? I, J, K. I, the first number you have here for A, I is 1. Since it's just I, is 1. Then for J is 2. For K is minus 3. Then for B is 2. For J is minus 3, which is this minus 3. And then for K is plus 4, which is 4. All right? I actually did put this thing. Let me confirm each of these answers coming. All right. It didn't go through. All right. So my dear students, the next thing we are going to do now is this, each of these ones, you pick them, I, and then I told you that you cancel here, cancel here. What is remaining is what you are going to write. So what is remaining is 2, minus 3, and 4. Then you have plus J. I told you that whenever you come to J, it's always starting with negative. So we have minus J All right, and here would be this, cancel this. My dear student, what are you going to have? 1, 2, minus 3, and 4. Then plus k. For k, you cancel this and this. What are we going to have, my dear student? You have 1 and 2, 2 and minus 3. All right? So like we are saying, for the A cross B, you do this. You write I, J, K. And then under I, for A, what do you have? 1. For on B, what do you have? 2. Then under J, for A, what do you have? 2. For B, what do you have? Minus 3. Now, under K, for A, what do you have? Minus 3. And then 4. Is that okay? Now, my dear student, this is what you have. Now, at the end of the day, what are you supposed to do? I told you that when you get to this point, this is what you do. It's not going to be I bracket. Use this 2 to multiply 4. 4 times 2. Are you getting it? Which gave us what? 8. Minus, use this 3 to multiply 3 minus 3. So it's going to be minus 3 minus 3. Of course, which gave us minus 9. Then you have minus j bracket. Then this one is 4 times 1. 4 times 1 will give us 4 minus bracket. 2 times minus 3 will give us minus 6. All right? Exactly. Plus k. Minus 3 times 1 will give us minus 3. All right? And then 2 times 2 will give us 4. Is that okay? This point, you can easily make mistakes. So let's go through it again. 4 times 2 will give us 8. Minus 3 times minus 3 will give us plus 9. Then minus j. 4 times 1 will give us 4. Then minus 2 times minus 3 will give us minus 6. Plus k. Minus 3 times 1 will give us minus 3. Minus 2 times 2 will give us what? 4. So this will give us I, which will give us, this stuff is trying to load. I, which will give us 8 minus 1 will give us what? Minus 1, my dear student. Is that okay? 8 minus 9 will give us minus 1. And then minus j. Minus times minus will give us plus. 4 plus 6 will give us 10. Plus minus 3 will give us minus 7. So we'll have minus 7k. So the correct answer is I times minus 1 will give us minus I. Then this will give us minus 10j. Then minus 7k. This is the answer. So you see that for cross product, like we said, that the product, for dot product, or the dot product of two vector is a scalar quantity. You discover that when we look for the dot product of A dot B, what we got was minus 16. Minus 16, no magnitude. It has a magnitude but no direction. So this is a scalar quantity. Then when we did for the cross product, we said that the cross product of two vector will give us another vector. When we did A cross B, what did he give? He gave us another vector, which is I minus 10j. Is that understood? So that is one thing that you should know. And that is that for this particular one. All right? Now, we have another question here. Let us look at it briefly. The question says, if D is equals to this and E is equals to this, find D cross E. Find the angle between D and E. Then show that D and E is perpendicular to both D and what? E. This particular question, you don't need to bother yourself about it because it's sure. Are you getting it? We are only going to solve these first two. These are the ones that are important to your exam. Is that understood? So the first one is D cross E. Now, what did I say you should do when you get anything cross? First, draw two lines like this, then write I, then here is what? J, then here is K. Here is minus 5, here is 6, here is minus 3. Here is 7, Here is 8. Here is 4. Then after doing this, all right, we've known how to put these things inside: minus 5, 6, minus 3, 7, 8, and 4. Now this is now going to give us write I, then root 2 lines. Or write I first. Now, from what I told you, this, hey, Lord of Jesus, here is I, here is minus 5, here is 7. Now, from what I told you, you cancel this one and this and write what you have left. What you have left for this one is 6, 8, minus 3, and 4. Then you have minus j. All right, the next one now,